Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you would be safe and sound inside your homes. Dear students, your examinations are approaching. They are being conducted in the month of November, late November, as per the JK Post information. Better is to put extra efforts. You must do extra hard work so that you can crack these coming examinations with nice percentage of marks. Dear students, the COVID-19 pandemic caused great damage to your academic site and you are virtually connected to us or you are virtually connected to us. The physical mode of teaching remained set or remained off. Dear students, from 21st of September 2020, the partial mode of physical teaching is on. Better is to attend schools and receive counseling and guidance from your teachers so that you can crack these examinations with nice percentage of marks. Dear students, in these days you need guidance and counseling to handle the examinations, coming examinations. Dear students, the physical mode is the actual mode of teaching. This virtual mode cannot be substituted, but something is better than nothing. You must watch these videos in order to learn something well so that you can crack the examinations without any hindrance. Dear students, class 11th and 12th, particularly 12th and 11th, it's also 11th. Today we are dealing with very important topic in our English grammar, that is the relative clauses. Dear students, first of all, you need to know what is a clause. A clause is a part of a sentence, part of a bigger sentence having subject or a predicate of its own. Dear students, sometimes clause is also a sentence, but you have to remember that clause is a part of a sentence or a bigger sentence that have subject and predicate of its own. Subject is the action doer and predicate is the part of a sentence that contains verb and gives information about the subject. But the question arises here, what is the relative clause? A relative clause tells us which person or the thing speaker means. For example, a doctor is a man who treats patients. A carpenter is a man who makes windows. Dear students, a relative clause is a clause that is attached to incident by relative pronouns. For example, in which you find the relative pronouns such as who, whose, which, that, whose, whom, and these are called the relative pronouns. I am giving the examples so that you can learn these things. For example, there are two sentences and you have to relate it and you make it relative clause by inserting the relative pronoun. I know the man eats worms. You have to change it into relative clause. I know the man eats worms. It is so simple. I know the man who eats worms. I know the man who eats worms. Take one more example. I like the book. The book is on the floor. I like the book which is on the floor or that is on the floor. So you have to keep in the mind that the clause is a part of a sentence having subject and predicate of its own, or sometimes it serves as a sentence, and a relative clause tells us which person or a thing the speaker means. For example, a teacher is a man who teaches. A teacher is a man who teaches. In relative clauses, we often find relative pronouns. For example, you find there who, you find there whose, you find there whom, you find there which, you find there that. And two sentences, when we are joined by a relative pronoun, it turns a relative clause. Take one more example. I know the man. I know the man. The man belongs to America. I know the man. The man belongs to America. These are two sentences and you have to relate it. You have to make a relative clause by relative pronoun. It's so simple. I know the man who belongs to America. And in previous board examinations, this was asked, like this was asked, the manager spoke to the persons. The manager spoke to the persons. Their work was below standard. The manager spoke to the persons, full stop. Their work was below standard. The manager spoke to the person whose work was below standard and whose is a relative pronoun, and this relative pronoun coordinate or relate these clauses and make it and made it a relative clause. So you have to keep in the mind that clause is a part of a sentence, part of a sentence or a bigger sentence that has subject and predicate of its own, and a relative clause gives information about a person or a thing which the speaker means. For example, a teacher is a person who teaches, and a relative clause is attached to incident by a relative pronoun. And relative pronouns are which, whom, whose, that, whose. These are the relative pronouns, and the clauses where you find these things are relative clauses, and they are used to relate the two different sentences. Take one more example. I saw the man. I saw the man. The man is doctor. The man is doctor. I saw the man who is a doctor. Take one more example. I saw the boy. The boy's father is teacher. I saw the boy whose father is teacher. Dear students, you have to keep in the mind that the in which you find the relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are which, whom, whose, that, and you relate the two clauses by relative pronouns, and clause finally turn us a relative clause. Remember, a relative clause is attached to incident by a relative pronoun. Take one more example. I saw the boy. I saw the boy. The boy reads in class 10th. I saw the boy who reads in class 10th. Dear students, take one more example. That is used with both living and non-living, whereas which can be used for the living non-living things only. For example, I lost the book. I found it. I found it. I lost the book that I found or which I found. But dear students, you have to keep in the mind that a clause is a part of a sentence, or a clause is a part of a sentence or part of a bigger sentence having subject and predicate of its own. And sometimes a clause serves as the sentence, and a relative clause tells us which person or a thing the speaker means. For example, a teacher is a person who teaches. In relative, or we can say a relative clause is attached to incident by relative pronouns which, whom, whose, that are the relative pronouns. Take an example. I saw the waitress. I saw the waitress. The waitress is very beautiful. I saw the waitress. The waitress is very beautiful. I saw the waitress who is very beautiful. Dear students, this is all about the in short about the relative clauses, and these are they asked in the board examinations. And before leaving the class, I'm advising you to see these things on your available English grammar books so that you can learn the things well. In case of any query or a confusion that may strike your mind after watching this video, you can call me on 7006671106 and WhatsApp me on the same number. And when you post your query by any means, by WhatsApping or by calling within short duration of time, your query or confusion shall be cleared. One more advice is for you, put extra efforts in these days, do concentrate on self-studies, remain without sleep day and night so that you can crack the coming exams with nice percentage of marks. My prayers are with you and you will crash the examinations definitely. Thanks. Be balanced.